Okay, so let's talk about the wet brush technique. I have gone ahead and taped my paper down. If we were in the classroom, I would have you take your original paper. We'd actually practice this in the classroom, and we'd tape it down with masking tape. I didn't have masking tape at home, so I just used clear tape. And I would make you tape the paper down because trying to paint with a brush that's wet sometimes is step in our project is actually drawing in your sketchbook what you want it to look like. Now we basically have almost a square piece of paper, and I want to map out where do I want my tree to be. You can use a tree, a palm tree, a regular tree, and then you're going to have a background of a sunset. So sunsets are usually warm colors, yellow, orange, and red. There are some people who did a night color with cool colors where they used blues, the white for the moon, light blues and purples, and even a black. You can do that. So I mapped out where I want my red to be at the top, my orange, and my yellow. And then all of this is going to end up being a dark color in either Sharpie. And the Sharpie I chose pretty much, even though it's brand new, it's not working so well. So if that happens to you, then you're going to use the Sharpie to draw your outlines, but then use your watercolors after, and I'll explain that more later. So I know that I want a tree here, and I know that I want some hills, and I do want a sunset. So now I'm going to transfer this drawing more neatly, but really lightly onto my paper. So we're going to switch over to the paper. Here's my paper, and I've taken my pencil and I've kind of mapped out where I want my hills to be. So here's one hill, that's going to be all black. Here's another hill, that's going to be all black. And then I kind of put my tree where I want it to kind of start off. I didn't draw all my branches just because I like to kind of like see how my branches go as I'm drawing them. So one of the things I'm going to make sure I have is my handy dandy paper towel. So my paper towel is going to be there just to make sure that if I make any messes or if I put too much paint on my paintbrush that I can get it off. And I'm going to still make sure that I have my clean water and my dirty water. Okay. So remember, I want warm colors, yellow, orange, and red. There are some people who did a moon with white in the middle, so you don't put anything there, and then they kind of put the blues and the browns around it. You can do that too if you want to, but right now I really would prefer that you use warm colors for this. So I'm going to clean up my brush because the last thing I used was the black. And I want to make sure that after I clean it, I'm going to dot it on this brush just to get all the residue out of it. And I'm going to do the wet brush technique by going into my clean water, and I'm going to wet all this. Now, make sure that you have newspaper down first. I should have told you that. And I'm just going to wet this whole area here with clean water in order to make my yellow. There is a little residue of black on this side. If that's the case with you, if you have a little bit of residue, just take one of the clean paper towels and wipe it off, and it should come off. So I'm going to use the clean water again. Apparently didn't clean up my brush. Your paper is going to wobble just a little bit, and that's okay. So now I'm going to go get my yellow, which is already still wet from the last time, and I'm just going to make sure that yellow gets smoothed out and blended in nicely. It's okay if I go past the lines because guess what? Those lines are all going to turn into black eventually. So I'm going to get some more water and I'm going to add it to it and just move it up as best as I can. Remember, this is why a soft brush works the best, not a hard brush. And you can see where my tape is right there. And that's okay. So I need some more water to go all the way up. And if my color still keeps bleeding, I'm okay with that because sunsets, the colors kind of bleed. Sometimes to me they look like cotton candy. So now I'm going to go ahead and wet the rest of this. And I just want to make sure I get good coverage. So I'm trying to go fast so that my water doesn't get too dry on the bottom. And then I'm going to clean up my brush to pick my next color. And my next color is going to be orange. So here's my orange right here. And I'm kind of going to go in the middle of and bring it down. The reason I'm going to go in the middle is because I want it to fade into the yellow. If I put it directly on top of the yellow, it's going to be a really straight line. Now it's very bold here, so I'm going to add some more water just to kind of blend it out. And if I put too much color, it's okay. Just pick up your paper towel and you can even blot it off if you have too much color. Now that's too much blotting, so I want to go back and add some more. So I might even go and add some more yellow and kind of move it up, and that was a lot of yellow. I didn't like how much yellow that was, so I'm just going to take some more off and then blot it back in. Okay, so I'm going to clean off my brush again just because I'm switching to orange, and I'm going to put some more orange in there. And it's drying on the top, so I'm going to go ahead and clean off my brush, blot it, just make sure I blot it, and go get some more clean water so I can get my reds. Now I don't really want that much red, so I might mix it with a little bit of orange. So I'm cleaning it off again and getting some more red coming off the top. It's however you want it. Now that's really red for me. I don't really like that, so I might mix it with a little bit of orange after this, but I'm going to go get some clear and kind of blot it out, move it down, just move the color, experiment with it. That other practice piece of paper, if you want to practice on this piece of paper first, I should have told you that in the first video. That's what that's for, was to practice whatever you need to. Okay, so you can even take the paper towel and scrub it along if you want to. If it dries and you do not like the color, like you think it's too light, go back and add some more. So like the orange, I can go back and add some more orange if I want to. You can add it while it's still wet, but if you add it while it's dry, make sure that you wet it with clean water again. Okay, so there we go. We have our little sunset. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up my brush and let it dry for at least an hour, I'd say. Maybe come back to it the next day, and then we can start adding in our figure, our tree, any birds that you want to, and our background. Okay, so my paper has been drying for a while, and I went ahead and I started to put some of my trees in. So make sure that this is dry, because if it's not dry, your Sharpie is not going to work that well. So my branches, I'm going to make them a little bit thicker, and then go ahead and add some detailing to them. And I'm going to go ahead and fill them in as I'm going across. Now it's okay if they're not filled in properly, because you can go back with your watercolor paints and do that to help fill it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in my little branches and whatever else that I need. My paper is a little bit buckled. When I say buckle, it's like wavy. And the reason it's wavy is because it was wet and now it is drying up. So I'm adding in branches that I need to. Now, if you want to practice your branches in your sketchbook, you can. It's up to you. You can do like pine trees. You can do whatever you want. There's a whole bunch online if you want to see what they are. Now, if I go to try to color that all in, it's going to take me a while. So in order to save myself all of that coloring, I'm going to do the dry brush technique. So here I am washing out my colors again, and I'm going to use my napkin, and I'm going to go ahead and go to my black, and I'm just wetting my black because my black is dry, and just adding some color to it. And I call it a dry brush because I just put the water on just to get it a little bit in the point where I can actually paint now with it. So instead of coloring all of that with the Sharpie, I can go back. As you can tell, it's a little bit gray as I'm doing this. So I'm going to go back and get some more of my paint, and I might need to do a second coat of this, and it's okay if it goes over. So I'm going to go get some more water and add it in. It's just because my paint is dry. So I'm going to try to go ahead and add some more to that. And this is called a dry brush technique because the paper is dry. So I don't really know why they call it dry brush when it's really the paper that they're talking about. So I'm going in, grabbing some more color, and I'm going to continue and finish up my paper. This way you can tell my tape was there, and that's okay. Now again, if you do not like how light this is, you can always go back and add some more later. Maybe give it 2 coats because it is watercolor. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend it down just a little bit, grab some more color again, and you might be better at watercolor than me. Watercolor is actually not my favorite. I prefer acrylics and I prefer drawing. Drawing is actually my favorite. So I'm going to go in and add as much color as I can. My black is actually very dry, so I'm going to try to wet it as much as I can. So I'm going to go back and add some more color afterwards, just because this right now is very wet and it's not giving me the color saturation, is the word that I'm using, that I really would like for this. So I covered one side, and now I'm going to do the other side with my dry brush technique. See, ooh, that's much better on that one. I don't know if you guys saw that. But now that the water is starting to seep into the paint, you can see it's a lot better. So I'm going to grab some more. And I'm using the dirty water in this one because black to me doesn't really make a difference. But if I was using yellow, I would not use that water. I would use the clean water. Because it's black, I really don't mind that. And it might be a gray color that I'm using on this palette. I'm not really sure because unfortunately Ellie got hers mixed up. My daughter, she got her palettes mixed up. So I'm just going to paint, and I know you guys don't want to watch me painting the whole thing. So I'm just going to try to finish it up. Don't do this. This is, you guys take your time and do it better than this. I just don't want you to have to watch a 20-minute video of me painting. Okay, so I'm going to go let this dry and go back and refill it in. Now, for the tree, I'm going to go back and get some more water, and I'm going to very carefully add some more color into the tree to get my silhouette of the tree, because this is just like the outline or shadow of the tree. And if I want to add more details, I can with this. That's why I kind of left it blank with the Sharpie, because I like to let the paintbrush let me know where to go on this. I feel like I have more control with the paintbrush than I do with the Sharpie. So once again, go back and add more color. Like I could see that yellow coming through right there, and I don't like it. So add more color as it dries some more to get the deep dark color. I know your kits are not the ones that I gave you for using those. Those are probably not the best ones either. So you may have to let it dry and do some more. But that's it for the watercolor painting. So when you're done, you should have a finished product, and I will give you some examples of the finished product online as well. So if you have any questions, just come to the Zoom meeting on Tuesday. I believe it's at 11. I will send when it is. I forgot. I have so many Zooms I don't remember anymore. But I'm praying for you, and I hope everything is going well.